Think gadget reviews, news, and all about it.
HTC One M9 review. But it did divide opinion somewhat. Those who loved it really loved it, on account of its beautiful design, superb build and lovely screen. But for some its flaws, namely the much maligned ultra-pixel camera, prevented it from being the best. The HTC One M9, no brackets this time, aims to put that right. Round the back there's a proper 20MP camera, while the design has been refined slightly without losing what made it so special. Eyes won't pop out, HTC One M8 owners won't suddenly feel the need to throw their current phone in the recycling bin. But this evolutionary approach is a sign of classy reserve that in this case makes a lot of sense. We're all behind the curve. Over the past 3 years, HTC has milled and beveled itself a reputation for great design and excellent build quality. This approach has paid off to the extent that even Apple, a company more design-obsessed than a house full of Scandinavian furniture designers having an argument over a lamp, has made a phone that looks somewhat one-ish. While the HTC One M9 body is a new design, you could be forgiven for thinking it's basically the same as the HTC One M8. They're very similar in size. The One M9 is fractionally thicker at 9.6 mm, both make near excessive use of cool, hard, brushed aluminium. And both feel just amazing. The Samsung Galaxy S6 may be thinner and have a fancy new glass and metal design, but I suspect many will still prefer the feel of the HTC One M9. The look is actually ever so slightly different this time. HTC has used a two-tone finish, for one. The One M9's sides are a bronze gold finish while the front and back are much more silvery. Going for gold is always going to raise a few eyebrows, but the M9 pulls off the look with ease. No gaudy gold here. To my eyes the circular camera lens of the M8 looked a bit better than the square one on the new M9, but that's pure personal preference. Essentially, if you loved the look of the One and One M8, you're going to love the M9 just as much. Fully featured. Unlike Samsung, HTC hasn't thrown the baby out with the bathwater. The One M9 has a microSD memory card slot, the Galaxy S6 doesn't. You already get 32 GB of internal storage, but the memory card slot enables you to boost that up to a huge 160 GB for around £60. Upgrading to the 128 GB version of a phone would cost you a lot more than that. The boom sound speakers are back, too. These front-facing stereo speakers made their debut with the original HTC One a couple of years ago, and they haven't changed a great deal since. But they're still just about the best mobile phone speakers around. It's not that they're super-duper loud, but rather just a lot richer sounding than the competition. People's voices no longer sound like a gang of angry wasps trapped in a bottle. There has been a minor software update to the speakers this year, too. Dolby sound modes allow you to tweak the output, for the speakers and headphones alike, to suit music or movies. Movie mode makes the sound bigger, music does its best to get you a natural tone. It's not a major change, but every little helps. Small screen star. HTC has really picked its battles this year, and in the screen department it's chosen the path of conscientious objector to the resolution war. LG has been making QHD resolution phones for ages now, but HTC has once again decided to stick with Full HD. If you're a spec hunter, the Samsung Galaxy S6 and LG G4 have displays with way more pixels. But the difference in real life is far from massive, mostly because at 5.0 inches the One M9 screen just isn't big enough to really benefit from loads of extra pixels. After all, it's still got a pixel density of 441p, light years ahead of the iPhone 6's 326p. Screen obsessives are welcome to get hung up on the numbers, but there's really no need to. And once you put the figures to one side, you realize that the One M9 has a great screen, one with natural-looking colors, excellent viewing angles and decent contrast. If you spend about 50% of your time with a phone watching Netflix or iPlayer, consider a 5.5-inch or larger alternatives such as the LG G3 or Samsung Galaxy Note 4 as well. You'll be carrying around a bigger all-round phone, but the media benefits will probably be worth it when it comes to satisfying your streaming addiction. And don't go assuming this is simply the same screen as that of the M8. Comparing the two side by side proves they're very similar indeed, but the M9 is slightly improved, particularly when it comes to viewing outdoors. A sense of the future. So spotting the difference has been a bit tricky so far, but HTC has made a bunch of more obvious improvements to the One M9's software. The phone runs Android 5.0 Lollipop, but it's actually the alterations made to the custom HTC Sense interface you'll notice most. Not that it won't be immediately familiar to existing HTC owners. You get your usual selection of home screens plus the blink feed rolling news page, and a vertically scrolling apps menu. Almost all other Androids use horizontal scrolling. It feels much like business as usual, but this year you can also seriously customize the look and feel of Sense with themes. Previously it was only quirky Chinese phone makers such as Huawei and ZTE that were still banging on about phone themes, but HTC has actually applied them rather nicely. They let you alter the font and icons of the system, but a good deal of the customization is also about picking a color scheme. A bunch of themes come pre-installed, but the neatest trick is how you can easily create your own. Just choose a picture to act as the home screen wallpaper and the HTC One M9 will automatically work out which color scheme suits the image best. Pretty smart, right? You can then override HTC's decision if you like, but there are fairly tight reins on what you can do. The HTC One M9 does its best to stay looking classy. There's no phone equivalent of the avocado bathroom suite here. Sense Home is also more contextually aware. If it's lunchtime, it'll show you Yelp reviews from nearby restaurants, and if you cycle to work, it'll notify you an hour before sunset in case you need to charge your lights. That sort of thoughtfulness makes ownership a real pleasure.